Hello, friends. Romeo and Juliet is the first love stories of a series of love stories that I am going to narrate on this channel. In a small township of Verona in Italy lived two rich and powerful families, namely the Montagues and the Capulets. Sadly, they are not on friendly terms with each other. Romeo is a son in the Montague family, and Juliet is the only daughter of the Capulets. Juliet's beauty is well known in the region. Count Paris, a nobleman from Verona itself, handsome and rich, asks Lord Capulet for Juliet's hand in marriage. The father accepts the proposal in principle, but advises Count Paris to wait for 2 years as Juliet is only 13 years young. However, since the Capulets had arranged a ball in their house, they invite Paris to stay back and join. Juliet has a cousin called Rosalind who is infatuated with Romeo, even though he was a Montague. And he too was keen to meet her again, but didn't know how. Here, Rosalind comes up with a solution. She, being a Capulet herself, manages to invite Romeo to the ball. Romeo is also encouraged by his cousin Benvolio to attend the function. There is yet another young man in Romeo's life. It is his good friend Mercutio. He is related to Count Paris and is also invited to the ball. Mercutio is known to be of extremely mercurious temper and always ready to fight at the drop of a hat, as they say. At the ball, however, the scenario takes a totally unexpected turn. Sparks of love at first sight kindle between Romeo and Juliet. Rosalind marks this and tries to intervene but fails to come through. Juliet vows to have only Romeo as her husband. Romeo, too, who is mesmerized by Juliet's commitment to him, forgets about Rosalind totally and responds to Juliet's love with equal intensity and sincerity. They decide to get married the very next day. Both of them overlook their feuding families. Yes, love can and does make you do strange things. Now, both Romeo and Juliet realize that they would face opposition from their families. Juliet's father has already promised a hand to Count Paris. Not knowing what to do, they confide in priest Lawrence, who also thinks that this marriage could help the Montagues and the Capulets to reconcile their differences. Under this assumption, he then secretly marries Romeo and Juliet. Their families are not informed. Now, Juliet has a cousin named Tybalt, a jealous and hot-tempered character who himself is said to have had feelings for Juliet. He had seen Romeo and Juliet enjoying themselves at the ball, and that too rather intimately. He is jealous and openly blames Romeo for gate-crashing the festivities and challenges him to a duel. Now, Romeo, thinking that due to his marriage to Juliet, her cousin Tybalt had become a relative, declines the duel. However, Romeo's friend Mercutio, being angry at Romeo's tame submission, accepts to duel Tybalt. Mercutio is, however, defeated and he dies. This angers Romeo. He fights with Tybalt and kills him. Wow, 2 persons have died and the matter is put to the king of Verona. Because it was proven that Romeo did not initiate the fight with Tybalt, Romeo is not given a death sentence, but ordered to leave Verona and never return. Should he return, he shall be put to death. Amidst all the confusion, Juliet manages to sneak Romeo into her chambers that night and they consummate their marriage. Romeo disappears from Verona before daybreak. Now, with her loving husband Romeo not being around, Juliet begins to live a life of loneliness and melancholy. Not understanding the real reason for Juliet's sorrow, her father invites Count Paris to come and wed Juliet. Juliet yet does not tell her parents the truth, pleads for the marriage to be delayed, but her parents do not relent. Juliet finds herself in a dilemma and again seeks the help of Prince Lawrence. Always ready to help the young couple, the priest gives her a drug that would put her in a death-like coma for 42 hours. He also sends message to alert Romeo of the plan so that he can be present when Juliet wakes up. Meanwhile, shortly before the wedding to Count Paris, Juliet takes the drug, enters into coma, and is declared dead. She is laid in the family crypt. Shadows of grief engulf the Capulet household. The priest's messenger could not find Romeo, but he hears about Juliet's death from a neighbor. He is beyond himself with grief, buys poison from a pharmacy, and rushes to the Capulet crypt. There he sees Count Paris mourning over Juliet's corpse. Romeo, who at that moment literally looks like a vandal and emotionally beyond himself, declares that he is Juliet's husband. On hearing this, Count Paris gets angry, wants to kill Romeo, but loses his own life in the combat. Now, seeing his beloved Juliet dead, Romeo too does not wish to live. So he takes a draught of the poison that he had brought with him and falls dead instantly. Meanwhile, Juliet, after 42 hours are over, wakes up. And when she finds her beloved Romeo dead, she, not willing to live without him, takes the remaining poison and dies too. What a shame and what a tragic end to the story. Only now the Montagues and the Capulets realize how their egoistic attitudes had led to the death of 5 wonderful human beings within a few days. They instantly bury their differences and decide to remain friends forever. Moral of the story: do not be misled by your personal ego where you see true love. Hope you liked the story, friends, even though it's a bit too long. The next ones I'll try to keep shorter. Stay blessed.